The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com, the 2015 Bash for Cash and Smash It Demolition Derby, Bull Lockwood Motorsports, and the 2015 Keystone National, Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com, Demo Derby Master, Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com, and Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, coming to you live from the Bash for Cash in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Crash Course Live, coming to you from the Bash for Cash 2015 at the Fayette County Fairgrounds, Washington Courthouse, Ohio, hanging out at the Big Rocks booth all weekend long. Joining me at the table, and the one and only Brian Tompkins. You can put your phone away. We're doing a show now.
I'm trying to be like you and Josh Decker.
I know. You try so desperately to keep up, don't you?
I do, and it doesn't always work.
You enjoying Bash for Cash so far?
Just great. The Turn Back the Clock guys have just really turned it up. I mean, they last year was a good show, and this year, man, everybody seems to be driving just so much harder. It's been a really, really good show so far.
Joining us at the table, a new face to the Crash Course, and a new face a little bit to the Model Demolition Derby replica community. One Jeremy Schul with car number 808. You'll see the car here sitting right in front of us. I took that overlay down so that you guys can get a good look at it. That is the car that won not only Hillbilly's Choice in the model contest here at Bash for Cash, but also came away with the popular fan vote, man. Congratulations on the win. Tell us a little bit about the car.
I just took a 76 two-door and converted it into a four-door, stretched it, cut the post out and everything, put the seat filler in it. So, I mean, I don't know, it turned out nice. I liked it.
You pretty happy with it?
Oh, yeah.
You got a couple of weeks, you said, invested in it. Good patina on the car. Also went for the look of it, basically pulling out of the dingweeds and bringing it out for the old school rules class here at the Bash for Cash. And it was met with some pretty good response, not only from the community, but from Kevin Couch, co-host of the model contest over there with Brad Carson and all the guys. He thought that the thing was remarkable. We've known a lot of the guys that have been building, guys and gals that have been building model cars, and Jeremy, you sort of come out of nowhere. Nobody's expecting you to come out, especially with a build like this. It's outstanding.
Well, I was here last year, and I seen some of the stuff that those guys was building, and I was like, I didn't have nothing at the time together enough to bring, so I ended up, I told him I was going to bring my A game this year, so that's what I did.
You've got the ratchet strap coming around the seat. You've got a removable steering wheel. You've got a quick connect for the steering shaft. You did an absolutely beautiful job on it. There was some pretty stout competition over there, too.
Yeah, some of the kids that was there, and well, even older people, too, they said they didn't even have much time in it, and I'm like, wow, these are amazing, so.
Would it be safe to say that you walked away with Rookie of the Year as well? I know you've got the beadlocks on the car as well. Going for a look of it coming out of the dingweeds with the patina. How much time do you have just in painting the body? How many layers of paint? I guess that's a better question. How many layers of paint are on that body?
There's a few layers on it. And then I sanded it down enough to get those other colors to come out, and then a lot of brush work too. So, I mean, I've even got, like on the back bar, I put some weld splatter, like where you're welded and towards the back. Right on the front.
We don't have the zoom camera here, but you can see some of the detail that's on this a little bit anyway, and you can see the all thread going through the bottom part of the trunk floor going down to the rear end. It's an absolutely exquisite build. And
Chris, how come your models don't look like that?
Because I don't build models anymore.
Ran out of that spare time we used to do that, huh?
I wish I could. I mean, I would absolutely love to be able to do more of them, but it's just not in the card time-wise.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I remember back when you first got into it, I remember coming down and doing some judging some contests with you, and man, the time and energy these guys put into this, I mean, it's, they're putting as much time into the models as the guys are that are driving around the track, and it really is intricate, details and workmanship to get that done. I mean, everything that's on a derby car on the track is on that car. I mean, and it all looks just like it would on the track. It's, that's really, really artwork right there. That's awesome.
My favorite car that I've got at home is it's a two-door, and it's called the Wildcat car. It is stood up at 90 degrees at the control arms. I made the front frame for it, and it had a bumper on it that was just wrapped right around the block, and the back end is just folded right off. and I found a 124 scale brake drum. So I put that on the right rear corner instead of putting the wheel on it, and so it looked like the wheel got the wheel got ripped off. But I would like to think that I had something close to this a couple of years ago, but I don't. These are the builds that were over there were absolutely awesome. I see there was a Mad Russian car over there.
Yeah. I honestly I don't remember your models because you wouldn't tell me what was yours until we were all done.
Yes.
And I remember looking through so many models that I
At that one show we had 100 to look through.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was very time consuming, you know. Cause I mean, we try to put in as much, you know, to look at things, but it's definitely that's an awesome build right there.
A friend of mine, Gunner, had his T-Bird over there, and he also had a Dodge pickup truck, and he had a home-built radiator that looked like a radiator.
That's awesome.
He used some fine metal mesh material and layered it, and built up a radiator. It was, and then he had I think he had the Griffin logo painted.
That's awesome.
In the radiator. It was pretty spectacular. This car here, it's got the all thread through the roof. It's got rivets holding the hood openings back, the tall intake, and then it's got the full scratch built engine protector and everything on it. It's a masterful job. Did you think you had a chance at winning it after what you saw, what was on the table last year?
I knew I was going to have to step it up. I mean, I seen what was there last year, and I was like, well, I got something for him, but I don't know if I've got enough. And then I set it down yesterday, and just people, by me setting it down, just was wow.
Right.
So
that's cool, man. I know you weren't particularly excited about coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the car? I thought there was another car in the box when you brought the box over.
Yeah, I actually got another one. Get that car real quick. This is built like Paul Petro's car. I'm good friends with Paul.
Paul made it to the feature out of his qualifying heat. Took a little bit of damage on the back of his wagon, but not too bad. Hold that right up so we can see that. That's a good look. I remember seeing this car when it came in. Look at the detail on the front of this thing. All the checkered pattern, that's not a decal. It's all hand done.
Yeah, I like to do a lot of the hand. I mean, I used to draw and paint and stuff in school, and I like to bring that back to it, you know.
Look at the speed connectors on the lines going to the coolers.
That's awesome.
Is that amazing?
Got the body all creased. That's just crazy.
How much time does it take to crease the body?
That's where you got to really work the plastic. I mean, you can't go too fast. You can't get it too hot. I mean, it'll blow right through. I mean, it's just like taking a real torch to a real car. You know, it blows right through it. So.
Is that a distributor that you used to make the truck to run?
It looks somewhat like a.
Oh, no kidding!
Look at that.
That's awesome.
I'm taking that idea, just so you know.
That's great.
It's cheap.
It is. Leaf conversion on the underside. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it, not showing anybody at home what we've got to work with here. It's a great looking car. Do you know how this one placed?
I have no idea.
No. All you know is
he's got the car that says number 1 on it. So after that, it doesn't really matter.
That's a good sized trophy you got to take home too.
Yeah, it's about waist high on me.
Do you drive derby cars otherwise?
No, I just help buddies build.
Yeah. You enjoy the build process for the heavy stuff, or you like the stock shows better?
I'm old school. I like the turn back the clock stuff. I think that's where it's at.
Right. Well, I mean, you've certainly been around them, especially be able to apply that on 124 scale. It looks outstanding. We're looking to catch up with Jesse Kunkel here in just a few minutes, and we're also going to be talking to David Killery. If David makes his way back over, I don't see him as of yet. David won the RC Car Derby. We'll get into that a little bit here. Did you get a chance to take that in or no?
No. This morning I was trying to get ready, and the shower lines was long, and so I had to rush around, so I didn't make it over there.
I had a car out there. It did not go well.
You entered one?
It did not.
You didn't even show it to me coming in. I didn't know.
What?
The car. Oh, RC car. I'm sorry.
RC car. RC car is actually sitting behind you.
Yeah, I saw that. Hey, you know, every derby needs track everybody.
Yes.
So, you filled that part today.
That opportunity was there, man.
We've all done it.
Cars. It looked like they were gonna do 2 heats, but it took a little bit longer to set the track up than what had been anticipated. So they got a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of time, and with 21 entries, and it was about a 20 by 20 pit, they ran everybody at one time.
That's awesome.
And they did a countdown just like with a regular derby, and I hope I made Josh Decker proud because I left when they got just about to 1.
Yeah,
and took off the line.
I had every intention of coming over, and I was over and watching guys rebuild their 80s and newer cars and stuff, and I got caught up and talking and stuff, and I was unfortunately not able to see it. But Next time we're at a show when you guys are running them, I will definitely be there to watch.
There's a couple of them coming up, but it was cool. The dude that won, David Killery, he had a round back wagon with a pointed bumper on it.
I've heard that.
The front of the hood was actually built extended and bent over.
That's
the way that it would
awesome.
be. The body lines were done just like you've got on your car, and there was some driving strategy. Like it was pretty serious. There was guys that were standing around talking about how awesome it was. They wanted to get into it, and they were saying that the action in that was better than the 80s heats on Saturday.
Well, can't sometimes argue that point.
But that was really cool. I think I ended up 19th out of 21. I got smoked by a young girl from across the track that was there with Keith Rourke.
Yes.
And when she hit me, it messed up the CPU and the Traxxas, and it shut everything down. It basically blew out the control unit, and that was
So
the
she
end of
broke
that.
your block one shot. You were done.
I got hit in the right rear, and it broke my block.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Did she give you one of these after she did it like Brett Relier?
No,
or?
Keith did.
All right. Just
Keith
checking.
actually pointed at me and did this, and then did that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
But the teamwork, like there was teams, people were hitting and holding when they'd come together nose to nose. Both of them would pick up off the ground. If somebody was caught sideways against the wall, they were hitting them and rocking them right up on the side, and then another guy would be right in on top of them right after that. And when it came down to it, the track was real soft, so if you got too close to the wall after the sand had been moved around a little bit, people would hit nose to nose and wait for somebody to back up. And if they backed up, they'd shove them back to the wall. And then the guys that had the small tires, especially that ran the smaller Ohio-style setup with it looked like it was tilted, they would get on the throttle to go forward, and they'd spin themselves a hole, and they'd be sunk, and they'd be stuck there. And early on, they gave you 2 releases. You know, if you got rolled over, if you got buried or whatever, they would cut you loose. But once it was down to like the last 8 or so, that came off the table. It was no more. So guys that ran that small tire setup, they got up on top of other cars or something. Now they had no traction. This one guy, they had the Army Green style Crown Vic that was there with the guy that ended up winning it. He got stuck in the sand 2-3 times, and he was able to work the throttle and work the steering and use the steering to pull himself out of the
Just
hole.
like a real car.
I mean, he did a great job driving that thing, and it was tough breaks for Ed Brewster and Josh Friel, who came down with Ed from Virginia. Ed had a controller problem right off the bat, and poor Josh, he just got ran over. They were eating him up, but it was a ton of fun. Tim Clark, he said, "This is going to be back next year. You're going to have
That's
more
awesome.
time. This is going to be back. This is awesome."
That's great.
And it was a great response to their trackside. They thought it was cool.
Awesome.
Yep, it was pretty cool. So, what are you going to build for next year? You coming back?
God, he's got to come back and defend the
I'm gonna
title
try.
now.
I want to bring a Crown Vic, a nasty looking Crown Vic.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. Look forward to catching up with you here on Facebook. Keep me posted on how those builds are coming. I do appreciate you coming over.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the show, man. There's plenty to see. The wire class coming up here in just a little bit here in the studio, or excuse me, in the arena. We got Jesse Kunkel sitting nearby. He's going to be coming over, and he's going to be taking Jeremy's seat once again. The model winner in the number 808, Jeremy Schul, also entered a replica of the Petro number 411. Petro. I've mispronounced his name all weekend. It's Petro in the 411. We're going to be seeing him in the features if you're watching on the pay-per-view at home. You're going to be seeing him in the features. He has already qualified, so we'll be keeping an eye on what he does in that 70s class. But again, Jeremy, man, I appreciate it. We're going to be bringing Jesse Kunkel in here in just a minute. You're up.
All right.
Thanks a ton, man. Again, congratulations on the win and getting that promoter's pick with Kevin Couch. That's an awesome accomplishment. Well done. And you hear the whine of an electric RC motor. Josh has got his car out and he's running up and down Vendors Row. And still haven't seen David. I thought David was going to be coming over as well. As Jesse Kunkel going to be coming and hanging out with us for a few minutes. He's got some hardware to plop down on the table. There's a good look at it. Sort of. Bring it right over here in front of Jesse. So
Right in front of Jesse.
Yeah,
there you go.
There's the trophy. The trophy from 2015. Jesse Kunkel, slide over here so everybody can see you. You're a little bit wider framed than the gentleman who just left. Great run for you out there. Everybody's been talking about it. Mad Dog Award winner with your car in that 80s, or excuse me, the turn back the clock class.
I had a blast, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you blasted some people.
Yeah, I think I might have made an enemy or two, but I don't come to make friends. I bring them with me.
Oh, boy.
That's the best quote I've heard in years. That's awesome.
Tell us a little bit about the heat and the run out there. The biggest news was what you did to the back of Petro's wagon.
Well, me and and Brett had talked on Monday and said, we end up in the same heat, we're going to have to make it look good. And then when we all seen who was in the lineup, it's like, man, I'm 3/4 of you guys are friends with, and it's like I'm gonna have to start weighing on one hand which ones do I care if we're gonna be mad at me at the end of the week, and which ones are are gonna end up screwing me in the end.
Whose feelings are the most disposable at this point, right?
And unfortunately, there were 3 guys out there that I've never met before, and that's kind of who I picked on. So
yeah, I'm thinking 2 of those guys are the ones parked against the wall at the end of the track that you were hitting at somewhere around 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, the guy in the red car wasn't too happy with me at the end of the heat.
Get in a bad spot, that can happen.
But I tried to start using the rear end, like everybody gives me a hard time, says I don't know how to, and
it's so much more fun and easy to go forward, though.
No need for reverse.
Well, you know what? I looked over at the old man after about the second flag, and he pointed at his butt and pointed to the ground, and I was like, all right, the hell with it. It's junk now. So
I definitely think we've touched on it before. Last year you had some terrible luck out here. I definitely think you made up for that. You came out and did exactly what you wanted to do.
You know what? It was great. Every time I kept looking over, the firemen are waving, and I mean, you drive down by Pete, and he was clapping and waving, and
oh yeah, I was
standing
there cheering. It was awesome.
And
man.
I get out of the car, and the whole crowd went wild. It was a good feeling.
So did you run it again this morning?
No, they gave me. I automatically get into the feature with the Mad Dog.
Okay.
But we pulled the hood off, and we were like, we kind of were waiting to even mess with it. And there's no bell housing left.
There's nothing there.
There's just a torque converter. I have
awesome.
no clue. It had a brace on it and everything.
That's great. Now, is the plan to run the wire class as hard as you ran that class?
Yes.
Alrighty, that's what I like to hear.
I thought that was staying on the trailer.
Well, it was.
So you calmed down since I've seen you last.
I was agitated. I really tried for that Mad Dog, and when they said, "Well, we don't think we're going to give it to you," I was like, "Well, then, maybe I'll just leave that one on the trailer and take it home, cut the wire, and weld it up, take it to King Old School."
But Jesus, don't do that.
But to Matt Foss's credit, I don't think that your feelings would be too hurt if he was the one that came away with that instead of you. Matt Foss did an awesome job with that Mopar.
Yeah, it was them, and the gentleman come down with Engstrom from.
That's Matt.
Yep. Yeah. Then there was that Ford wagon.
Yeah.
The thing with Jesse when he ran is that the other guys definitely put on a great show, but in my humble opinion, and I didn't vote, but just in my opinion, they didn't run as long.
Right.
Jesse made it much deeper into the heat. So, I mean, he was able to lay the wood a lot longer. But, I mean, there were some guys, again, the guy in the Ford wagon, he was driving extremely hard.
Some of the conversations that we had with some of the officials that were involved with that, it circulated around like, yeah, all those guys were pretty much even in terms of caliber of hits, quantity of hits, stuff like that. But Jesse he ran longer. I mean, he put in more of a show because he put on a longer show.
Yeah,
that's what Tim said. He said we kind of walked around, looked at the 3 or 4 cars we were deciding between. He said, and yours was just way too bad. And it's like, they're all going to get the run again, except for the one. He said, but yours was just junk.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's probably what it came down to is the fact that you were able to run longer and, put on a show for a longer time. But again, I mean, and as a whole, I mean, you've been coming to Bash for Cash a lot of years, right? I mean, you've been coming here for, but I mean,
4 years at least.
Yeah, as a whole, don't you think that the whole class, the Turnback Clock class has been running harder this year?
It's getting better. Everybody said you set the standard to beat in that first heat. I knew it was going to be a bloodbath, though.
Yeah, it was, and I watched the console, and they started out kind of slow, and then all of a sudden, everybody was driving hard, and for quite a while, and then there was a red flag, and everybody was kind of, easing back into it, and then it was like everybody got on it again, and definitely that has definitely been the highlight class so far, and if they run the feature like that, it's going to be a longish feature because of the guys and the quality, but there's going to be junk made. It definitely put on a show.
Had you not booked a ticket right to the feature-winning Mad Dog, would you have gone out for the concert, or would you have stayed
if we could have? I mean, if we could have fixed it, yeah. I mean, I don't like taking anything home. I got to do something with.
Other than cut your important parts out, then the rest goes to the scrap.
Start on the next one.
Absolutely.
So you still have, so if you take the 2 out of the equation, you still have, what, around 75 cars at the house now?
There's still too many. That's all there is.
We may have to talk in the off season. I'm starting to like these Cadillacs, so we may have to talk a little bit.
I've had a whole lot of them offered to me this weekend. Let's put it that way.
That's
Really?
awesome. That's awesome.
The only problem is every time somebody does something good, like at Brookville, when Josh Coons come down to 4th place in the feature, and I said, I'm glad you didn't win, man, because Cadillac's the price of them would have gone through the roof again.
Right.
Absolutely. Jesse, how many shows you plan on running this year?
I'd like to run 4 or 5 of them, but the way work's been and the way that I got family issues to take care of.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's I'm at least going to come up to King Old School and watch if anything. But
That's cool.
If this wire car survives, I'm just going to straighten it out and bring it up and make more junk.
That's awesome. Hopefully, I won't be in that heat.
Yeah. You need to be wise with your heat draw now.
Yeah, hopefully I won't be in that heat. Either that or I'll be going as fast as Jesse, so we'll be chasing each other or something.
Keystone Nationals?
Yeah. It may not be built to the specs of everyone else's, but I've got 2 Cadillacs that I'm tilting for me and a buddy, and I'm at least going to get his done. And if my caddy ain't done, then I'm just going to slap everything in a suey and come out and stand on it.
Did you see Cindy Regenbald's suicide for the wire class yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said I seen them suicides, and I thought, man, I brought a knife to a gunfight.
until the rear end's pointing out and you drive right to the back seat of them.
Well, that's the only downfall is, I've built a lot of them, and I know what breaks, so it's kind of like, all right, well, I'm just going to aim for that.
Just trying to target the weak spots. I mean, that's the name of Demolition Derby. That's
Absolutely.
that's what separates so many of the drivers from ahead of the pack that we've talked to, is that they've got the knowledge to know what the weak spots of the cars, not only that they're running and that they're building, but that they're running against, and able to exact their will on those weakened areas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely the keys.
Yeah, I wouldn't even, be honest with you, I wouldn't even cared if I'd have got the Mad Dog or anything. Just getting out and seeing everybody clapping and everything, knowing that I put a show on for everybody, that's exactly what I come for.
Yeah,
In the end, it's only money.
Yeah.
But that's my bragging rights right there.
Yeah, that's a nice trophy to take home with you right there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually have to make room on the mantle for that.
That's a nice one. I mean, with the guy hulking out on top is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's an original right there. I've never seen one like that.
Now, in terms of other shows beyond Keystone Nationals and getting the Cadillac together for that show, how about later in the year at Blizzard Bash?
Being that they made it longer this year, Team Hoffmeister asked me to come back, but I just, with work and family and Christmas right around the corner, this year is not feasible.
Right.
Yeah. That's what put me so far behind on my builds for here.
Would you like to get back there in coming seasons?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, I was talking to Brett, and, we're talking about maybe just, a couple PA and Ohio boys coming out for a team. And
That would be very cool.
Pete show, you mean?
Yeah.
That would be very cool. And I mentioned that last year. I'd like to see some more guys from out this way, come out there and enter, because I definitely think there's the caliber builders and drivers that could go out there and definitely, make their names well known out there. I mean, there's definitely a lot of talent back this way.
Yeah, well, we were thinking on the way out here, we realized that there was only me and one other guy from local in the area over there coming over because, Todd didn't come out with, had family issues, and then the issue with the garage, so had to make, Pennsylvania represented well.
Oh, yeah, you did
Mission
that without a doubt.
Mission accomplished, and you still got a little bit of work left to do with that wire class car. We've sort of joked about with Ray Stoker and a couple of the drivers, and I think this sort of applies to you, that if you win something, it's by accident.
Yeah.
Other than Mad Dog Awards. It's
everybody said that.
Something
they're like, oh, he's actually going to try and win when I was using the back end of the car, and I'm like, I was tired of everybody busting my balls that I didn't know how to use reverse. In fact, we were locked in the impound, and Russ was Tim was standing beside me, and I backed it out of the building. He's like, holy crap, it's got reversed.
It's so much easier to just get it pointed forward and just hold it on the boards. It's just so much, and it's more fun. It's always good to see the look in their eyes right before you hit them at about 30.
Well, that's what everybody's like. You got to take them pointies off them caddies. You need a flat bumper. But a flat bumper won't do to them other cars with that pointy did.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I talked to Jesse about that last night. I said, look, you forgot more about building caddies than I know, but and I mentioned that, and he's like, well, yeah, but them pointies, they tear stuff up. I'm like, yeah, I can't argue that point. You
It doesn't
definitely do
help.
that.
It doesn't help though when I have them loaded to about 300 or 400 pounds either. When you get all the steel you can handle from the steel mills for free, it's just keep stuffing it till it don't fit.
That's awesome. That would come in handy for building derby cars.
I don't remember what the make of the car was intended to be in the RC Derby, but there was a guy that had a point on it, and the point was pitching down. He was wailing with it, and it just folded the point right down.
Just like real cars work. It's amazing.
Yeah, they said after I hit that kid against the wall that backed up, it was already pointing in the air.
Oh yeah, yeah. You pointed it up early.
That's all right though. I mean, it bend at the S's where where it always bends, and I could have kept going. Had the tranny not crapped.
Oh yeah.
Because I was lining up again. I told Brett, I said I was lining up for a third hit, and there was probably a 2-inch by 3-inch piece of tin holding that pillar together. And had I hit him again, I'd have been up on the gas tank protector.
On the topic of the S's that you were referencing there, one of the Braun cars suffered a lot of damage in his qualifying heat in the turn back the clock class. Basically, at the S, it's looking at itself.
Nice.
Kinked over pretty severely. So
Nice.
that's something that we're going to be kind of keeping track of as we work towards the championship rounds here at Bash for Cash 2015. About halfway through our daily update. So anybody before we let you go, anybody that you wanted to make mention of or say thanks to helping get the cars together?
Just my family and the guys that have been helping me in the evenings. Jeff and Jeremy and Spinning Wheel Productions. He does all my photos and then Hoffmeister Cradles.
Was he here? Was Spinning Wheel here?
Yeah, he's running around.
He takes some pictures of that?
I asked him to take some pictures of my brother. He's running his first mini truck, but he couldn't really see straight, let alone walk straight when I found him yesterday.
Oh, no.
They'd gotten him into the moonshine. I'm like, well, we'll have to sober you up before you take pictures.
That's funny.
That's not good. Did he get any pictures of you laying waste in the heat?
Yeah. I guess the biggest thanks goes out to my mom and dad. My mom for letting me use the garage, and my dad for willingly pulling his 55 Buick that he's been trying to rebuild for 5 years out of the garage and park it outside and just let it sit under a tarp until I could get all these cars done. So
that's crazy.
Dads are good like that. There's been a lot of years that my parents have had to park their cars outside because I've been working in their garage building stuff. So cool to do that for you.
I said if anything survives this weekend, he's more than welcome to take it and run it wherever. I won't fight him for it.
That's cool. Everything good, Chris?
Yeah, I was just answering a quick question. What'd you think of the other heats? I mean, we talked a little bit about some of the guys that are in and out. Any surprises from your perspective?
You know what? I was from last year's turn back to this year's. It's a complete 180. The guys have really turned it up. I mean, it's impressive. There's a couple cars they tried to load on Friday, and I give the guys the ingenuity for thinking outside the box. Unfortunately, they didn't like what they thought outside the box. But not most guys would have thought what they did. The builds are good. I know Tim and Russ were over there complaining at the drivers' meeting this morning that they don't want to see what happened in the 80s class this year. So far, it's like, I don't want a bore fest. I want you guys to turn it up.
I heard a rumor that they were going to go around and tell the 80s cars that they had to cut their kickers since they didn't do anything to deserve them.
That's right. He says, we're going to make you, he says, we're half tempted to walk around, make you cut every one of them.
And that's the thing. I touched on that yesterday is, for as much as they have done to the cars and the way they have them built with all the protectors and this and that, I realize, again, they're running for a lot of money, but you got to step it up. I mean, that's, the people that are here to pay, that end up paying the purse, you got to keep those people happy also. I see both sides of it, but, I can't think of the guy's last name is Jones. He was driving the 345 car yesterday. He definitely was the hardest driving driver of the 80s and newer class. All of a sudden he turned it on and he was just driving stuff. And I wish more guys would take that lead. He also made the feature with a straight front end. So I think there's a lot more guys that need to do that.
Yeah, I can't really comment on them builds because, I mean, I built one and I pretty much had to be cut out of it when it was done. But I mean, those cars are tanks. Don't get me wrong. They're 10 times the build of what we're doing, and I just would would like to see them step it up and use it more.
Yeah, that's when we go to Blizzard Bash, I mean they go out there and those cars are built close to the same ways. There's some differences, but those guys are on the gas, and I would like to see that. Just I've said a million times, I like to see stuff get wrecked. So hopefully the Consi was a little bit harder today in the 80s and newer. So hopefully the feature, they'll drive a little bit harder, but we'll see how it goes.
Sounds good. Jesse, man, I know you still got some stuff that you got to work on back there. I appreciate you coming over and making some time for us. We've had a number of people that were asking at home when you're going to be on. So congratulations, officially. 2015 Mad Dog Award winner, Jesse. Nice job.
Thanks, sir.
Look forward to seeing you bring home another one of those Mad Dog trophies out there in the wire class.
Yeah, we'd like to repeat it.
That'd be just fine.
That would be awesome, man. Absolutely.
We'll see you guys a little bit later on then. And we've got waiting in the wings, Wade Sticking from derbyparts.com. Going to come and hang out with us a little bit. I don't know if you want to throw these on. Maybe you can hear better with them. Wade making the trip out.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, man. Thanks for coming over. What do you think of Blizzard Bash so far this year?
Bash for Cash.
Oh, my God. I can't believe I did that. Bash for Cash.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's this is just one of those derbies. If you've never been, you got to go at some point in your life. It's not like anything you'll see anywhere else. Mm-hmm. There's stuff you'll see here that you just won't see anywhere. And I was telling you yesterday, it's kind of like the Derby family reunion when you come here because you see everybody you haven't seen for the last year and different guys running around, and it's just a lot of fun. It's like a carnival. It's everything you can imagine in the Derby world all rolled up into one weekend.
What was really cool is some of the guys that came up from Virginia with the RC car stuff. Ed Brewster had never been to a Derby.
Really?
Well, I should rephrase that. He hasn't been to a Derby since 1970.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So we walked up Vendors Row, and we walked down, and we talked to Jeff at Baldwin Engines and talked to Dave over here with Big Rock, and we headed on down the line and took him over and showed him the big cradle over at Ski's place, and then went out to Postal Mopar and looked at the rear ends, and his eyes were just the size of dinner plates. It was crazy. He'd never seen anything like it, and he just thought it was the coolest thing. So they ended up, instead of packing up and going home, they're staying, and they've been watching some of the derbies. They're excited about seeing the trucks and stuff. So turning new people onto the sport, that were from the outside of it or left it for 40 years.
It's some of that stuff is just mind-boggling. It's amazing when you look at that stuff with the 1-inch back plates. And
You gonna keep that in stock? You gonna stock one of those ski cradles?
Not yet. I'm not sure how you ship that thing. I mean, we ship a lot of stuff coast to New York. We ship tons to New York. Washington's a big market for us. It's got to be $200 to ship that thing to
easy.
Washington or
I mean, it's
California.
500 pounds.
Yeah, it's
how'd you like?
Pretty much, you got to come and pick one of those up at a deal like this.
How would you like to be the FedEx guy that's got a little dead thing in to send it somewhere?
Yeah, my UPS driver would kill me if that was sitting on the dock.
But, Jason was telling everybody, if you can load it by yourself, you can have it.
Yeah, I'll bet nobody's done that either.
Yeah,
A lot of people thought they were gonna.
Yeah, I said, if I was 20 years younger, I'd probably give that a whirl. But as I've gotten older and wiser, that wouldn't be such a great
As it
great
collapses
idea.
the suspension in the van.
But it would be cool going home with it.
Yeah, dragging the bumper. Be a laugh riot.
Yeah,
8
I'm not
hours.
sure how you get that anywhere without a skid steer. That's for sure.
No.
But you see that stuff and that a lot of that in this show and these kind of shows. But you're seeing a lot of the stock classes and those kind of things are really making. I don't know if you want to say a comeback, but they're just bigger and a lot more of them going on, and it's kind of revived a lot of interest in the sport in some places where maybe it was kind of tailing off a little bit.
There certainly has been a revival in that because a lot of these guys that have been building the heavy weld cars, they're getting burned out on it. Having to build 3 or 4 of those heavy build cars a year, they're getting tired of it. And
well, it's the time. It takes so much
because
time.
Because of the time investment.
These wire classes are quick builds. They're a lot of fun when these guys drive them, and I think it's good for the sport. I think it's bringing more people back in. It's a lot of these guys. These cars aren't going to hold up as well, so they drive them a little harder, and I think the fans really like that too.
I think the fans like seeing the older stuff get wrecked too. You know what I mean? It's what you You know, Chris and I have said it before, but it's like what we grew up on. You know, it's seeing cars just absolutely obliterated, and you don't see that as much with the cars. You know, the like the 80s and newer class, or you know that style with the kickers and the plates and stuff. But I definitely think that people who really like seeing the old stuff just come in here and get wrecked. I mean, it hits a niche, I think.
It does, and there's a lot of guys doing it. They're doing, there's a number of classes here that are got that kind of a build with them too. So I think it's helping the sport. I think a lot of guys are getting into it. It's bringing guys back to the sport that didn't have the time to do all the crazy welding, and I think it's good. I think it's a good thing.
We're looking forward to catching up with you when you make your trip to the Keystone Nationals here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's on our schedule this year. We talked to Bo and signed up for his Reckless Warriors program this year, which sounded like that's really working out well, and we were excited to be part of that. And it sounds like that Keystone Nationals is really going to be a heck of a show.
It's going to be
so
awesome.
We're looking forward to coming out for it.
Did you get a chance to see Mad Mike down there?
Just a little bit, not much. Yeah, and
currently the points leader.
Yeah, he's. I think the features tonight are going to be pretty good. I think
Yes.
Guys are going to turn it up a notch after seeing some of that stuff, and it's one of those things with a show like this. You never know for sure what's going to happen, but I think it'll be exciting.
The main buzz right now is it continues to circulate around that wire class. Everybody talking about that. I'm anxious to see Cindy Rengebald bring her Suicide out there, and Jesse Kunkel going to be out there with his entry. And when there's $1,000 in a car sitting out there for the Mad Dog Award winner, everybody has some incentive to drive hard.
Yeah, oh yeah, and they will. They'll drive the wheels off those things. They'll be great.
I mean, that's Mad Dog's a
$25 payday.
Yeah, I mean it's a car all day long. You know what I mean? It's you can't beat that. That's just incredible.
Did you buy a raffle car ticket yet?
I think if I won the raffle car, there'd be some pissed off people.
I don't. How much of a headache would that be? You win. Goodness.
Exactly.
It was funny.
No, I think that'll be a fun win for.
I haven't even bought a ticket yet, and I said, "Yeah, me either, Pete." He goes, "I wouldn't win it anyways." I said, "Yeah, but imagine what the people would look at you if you did." I said, "That would." He goes, "I just go out there and hold it on the boards." He goes, "I ain't got a dime invested. I'd put out a show," which I'm sure Pete would. But the guy last year that won it. He drove hard. He had the front end. The bumper was pointing at the sky when he got done.
Up in the back, he drove it hard.
Yes, he did. He did a good job.
And the good news is even if you tear it all up, there's some stuff in it. It'll still be good.
Oh, absolutely.
That motor drive shaft.
Yeah.
I mean. Tons of the components that you can take back off of that thing.
No, that's so cool that Russ and Tim do it that way and give the car away, and they've been doing that for a number of years, and we've been very fortunate. I always want to say thanks to Russ and Tim for letting us be part of the Bash for Cash, and we've been doing it for a long time, and they're just a class act, and we feel really grateful to be part of this show and to get to come out here every year and see all of this and do it all. It's a lot of fun.
It's just continues to expand and get bigger and bigger. We've talked to how many drivers this weekend, Brian, that said that this was their first time coming to the Bash. Next year they're going to bring a car out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people.
There's 25, 30 people we talked to that said they're going to do that. I mean,
did you see the youth, the opener youth class?
Oh yeah, they were
40 cars on the track or something. I mean, that's the next generation of drivers, and they couldn't fit another car on that track when they started if they wanted to.
And Hank Pensick's daughter was out there.
They were doing. She was doing pretty good. I came over as it was still going, so wanted to make sure I got over here on time. But now, Wayne, you know a little bit about Derby parts. What would you say, money wise? How much is the guy that wins that car walking away?
Probably $5,000.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Motor.
Plus the motor.
Plus the motor and plus the wagon if he can straighten it out and run it.
I mean, you're looking at. Let's lowball it. You're looking at an $8,500 win.
Easy. Oh, easy.
Win. I mean, that's. I mean, how?
Well, if you go out and buy a wagon like that,
oh, that's $2,000.
12, 15.
Yeah.
If you get it cheap.
Yeah.
No,
especially now.
That's a huge raffle win.
I mean, it's amazing. There isn't another Derby in America where you can walk in, and put $10 in and walk out with $8,500 worth of product. I mean, that is just absolutely
Plus
amazing.
You get to drive a fresh car in the feature.
Yeah.
That's $10,000 to win.
Yeah.
Did you hear the story about Tim getting in trouble with it?
No.
Did you hear about this?
Oh yeah, he was on here the other day.
After everything had settled down on Friday night, Tim took it, went out on the track and starts blowing donuts, spinning around, just do that. Who do you think you are? Comes with him. And the guy goes, all right, carry on.
Yeah,
Free pass. Go ahead. As many donuts as you
funny.
want.
I'm Tim. You may have heard of me.
Other than that, not many other people yell at me here.
That's right. And I'm surprised there's there are, there's a handful of guys in this business that everybody knows, and Russ and Tim are two of them for sure.
And that's as I was watching the Heats yesterday, when Russ was finally able to make it over after he got done with his inspection and everything, I was standing back out of the way and watching, and just kind of intently goes, "Hey, what are you thinking?" And we stood there and talked for a couple minutes, and he went and did some stuff and came back, and I asked him some questions, dealing with it was so accommodating. Wherever you guys want to watch, go ahead. Hey, in these two, you may find some that are close, but you're not going to find anybody that's better than Tim and Russ.
I can't tell you how many times we've been at shows, and all of a sudden, here they come.
Oh, absolutely.
Just come walking up. It's like we're miles away from home base, and sure enough, there they are. They're all over the place.
Around. I see them at shows all over.
Like Russ is planning on coming to King's Old School in New York for sure,
and they're both. It sounds like both of them are going to try to get out to. Both of them, we're talking about trying to get up to Kings of Old School. They've got conflicts, so they're not going to be able to get to Keystone Nationals. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to cross paths again through the course of the summer.
I'm sure.
With all the derbies they do in the summer, I'm surprised they get anywhere. They do 600 derbies in Ohio over the course of the summer.
Yeah, they do.
Crazy.
There's one night through the summer they have 3 derbies on the same night. It's crazy. What's your schedule, guy? I mean, we talked about going.
Probably know Mayhem is kind of got a lot of renewed interest this year.
Yes.
20,000 to win will get a lot of people's attention.
Yep. There goes the roundback market.
Yeah, it's just blowing it up. And so yeah, Mayhem will be there. Keystone Nationals is on our list. And then at that point, you're into July, and you really start rolling into county fair season. So we got some derbies that happens after that.
Are you going to the indoor show Thanksgiving weekend in Texas?
We've been asked to go to that show a couple of times. I haven't made it yet. And I guess there's down at Sturgis, they're having a show
in October.
I just heard about that the other day.
Yeah, we're talking a little.
But I don't know. Once we get, I'm only thinking as far ahead as county fair is starting in July.
We now, at least one of them. There's still some pretty serious talk.
My son's birthday, so
on your schedule.
Yeah, coming up in just a couple weeks.
Yeah,
about
June.
3 weeks. Who knows? Because
you guys are feeling home out there with all the Mopar.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, we went out there last year and.
We were talking between Utah, Minnesota, and then New York, Pennsylvania. It's sort of that
a little bit of Mopar left in the world.
That's right.
It's good. It was good to see. It was good to see. We're going to be catching up with Matt here in just a few minutes here. Matt Foss. He had that Mopar that he brought out with Lee Engstrom, and boy, what a run he had.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He had a good run yesterday.
Yeah, but I think he polluted it with a Chevy motor, so it's not as good, but it's all right, I guess.
How many wheel centers were you able to smuggle into your carry-on?
When I was supposed to bring some other stuff for another guy, and I forgot it, and it's just been crazy the last couple of weeks. And that's just when we're not driving the truck out here. You get guys calling, "Hey, can you get a carburetor in your suitcase, or can you get this or that?" So we do, we try and do that as much as we can. It's, you do what you can, but there's plenty of stuff to buy here on Vendors Road too. That's for sure.
Yeah, you can build a car. I mean, you can build a car just starting at the crossover gate and walking down towards the apex at turns 3 and 4. You can get everything you need to build a car.
Oh, absolutely, including the car if you go far enough down that way.
Well, and I think that's what a lot of people, coming to a show like this. If you've never been, bring your checkbook, because there's a lot of stuff here that you'll have a chance to see that maybe you didn't see before, or you can actually see it in person. And
it's priced to move.
And you'll get a good deal on it. That's right. These guys are here to sell stuff.
Now, with the derbies pretty much running year round now, I mean, that's got to kind of help your parts business a little bit. I mean, people got to be kind of.
It does. It
does.
We had a huge year last year.
Good.
I mean, we grew a lot to the point where we hired some people this year.
Wow, that's great.
So we've got some guys that are, just they come in at night and pack orders, when they
Cool.
get off of their regular job, and we just had to do something because we're just growing too much. And
Which is the 3rd year in a row that you've shown remarkable growth.
yeah, and it continued to grow. And this year so far we're on the same track.
Trending.
It's the trend is still in place, which is. I've been asking for a couple of years. I wonder how much longer this can keep going like this, but it just keeps going.
And you're selling the right stuff to where those stock guys still need to come visit derbyparts.com.
Yeah, and that's just it. A lot of guys say, "Oh, aren't the stock derbies hurting your business?" And with pedals and steering stuff and fuel tanks, I mean, stock cars all need that stuff. And so it's actually been great for our business. There's a lot of stuff we sell that goes into a wire class car.
You were flirting with all 50. Have you hit all 50 states now?
I have not shipped to Hawaii yet.
That's the only one left.
I need to just call somebody out there and just say
We have a
need to
derby.
just-
We have a guy. We have a guy in Hawaii that watches us.
Ian Rochelo, and there's another guy, forgive
we
me for
haven't hit
forgetting his
Hawaii
name.
yet, but we have California and Washington are just become huge markets for us.
Yeah.
I mean, they I know last year I had mentioned guys in Forks, Washington, that have been buying a lot of stuff. They have a derby up there around 4th of July. They derby on pavement. It's crazy. And then I got an email after the show. They heard me mention them on the podcast, and they're like,
Right.
"Hey, you mentioned us. We're all excited." So I sent them a whole box of swag out for their derby.
Cool.
They were pretty pumped up about it. But they, those guys, so we're shipping a lot to the West Coast. We just haven't quite hopped over to Hawaii yet.
Not yet, but you're knocking on the door.
Oh yeah.
We'll try and send some messages out that way.
Absolutely. At least even if they just buy a shirt.
Just
from
buy a
us.
shirt.
Sticker.
Yeah,
buy a
$5
decal.
That would be awesome.
That's all you got to do. Just buy a
just so I can
decal.
check it off the list.
There you
right?
go.
Very cool.
Well, I think we hit all the provinces in the lower part of Canada this year.
Wow.
already
That's
also.
great.
So
That's
it's
great.
it's
Did you ever imagine?
no, you get going on something like this and you kind of wonder, where's this going to go? And I'm still wondering where's it going to go. It's continues to grow, and we're just excited to be part of it. And I think with the help of guys like Russ and Tim and shows like this and other big shows, Mayhem, Keystone Nationals, all those kind of shows are really helping drive the sport. And I think it's just getting that attention to it and people excited about it. When we first got into this, 4 or 5 years ago, there was a lot of people talking about Derby's dying, Derby's going out. You really don't hear that anymore.
No.
People have kind of stopped talking about
No.
that. Like, they come to this kind of stuff. And I think we were talking about this last year. They had 500 cars here. There's not very many dirt track events in the country where
No.
they're pulling 500 cars.
There's no.
No. There's Chris and I have talked before. I think that probably I don't know if it's the biggest, but for the East Coast, the biggest would probably be the World Series weekend, where they have the sprints, the late models,
World
the modifieds,
Finals,
World
yeah, in
Finals,
Charlotte.
But
And then there's
some-
that IMCA
Yeah.
event that lasts like 14 days or whatever it is
Yeah.
in the Midwest. But that's the only motorsport thing that I can think that's comparable.
yeah.
And I think that one of the things that could cause it to turn the corner for Derby is just get some of these bigger sponsors in. That's where the circle track racing has the advantage on Derby, and you're starting to see that change a little bit too. Some of these events are starting to get some names associated with them, which are bigger companies and more in the kind of mainstream automotive space.
It's just going to take one. It's going to take one national sponsorship, and it's going to completely turn things around, because once the first guy gets in, now the second guy is going to want to take their spot.
Well, that could be, and they're all sitting watching.
Yep.
Watching
Who's going to be the
somebody make
first
them-
one?
Yeah, we've touched on it a million times. I mean, we've seen some places sort of step up, but when somebody says, okay, there's a fortune to be made out there. These guys, it's stuff they need. Let's take care of them. Somebody's going to make a really, really smart business decision, and it's going to help them a ton, and it's going to help Derby grow.
We've seen Speedway and O'Reilly take jumps at different shows. We saw O'Reilly again moving into a new market with their show, getting behind Crossroads and Albert Lee. And then on a lesser scale with Winter Slam, we've seen Napa jump on, but that's the Star Group, which owns a number of Napas regionally. That's still not the corporate backing, and they're trying hard. And there's another one. Oh, VP Race Fuels. Race Fuels has gotten on board with a bunch of the upper Minnesota shows in terms of actually vending and dispensing fuel at the Derby, and now Sunoco has jumped on with Bo Lockwood's program.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know Sunoco came on this year.
It's already starting to happen.
The first couple dominoes have fallen.
And that trend is only going to just drive it more and more. And so I think the future is really bright for Derby. I think the talk is all but stopped about it's going out. More people are coming in. The Power Wheels classes, everybody's getting into
changed
Power
a lot.
Wheels and bringing kids, more kids to these and getting them involved. These youth classes. I think it's only up from here.
The key with the youth classes is making sure that the youth class has insurance as well. We had a good talk with Tim Clark about that on one of the studio shows, about making sure that those guys are covered, because there's some promoters, it's a little iffy on that whole youth thing, and thankfully they did it right here. They went through the process to make sure that Basher Cash with their youth division was done right, and everybody was covered, and God forbid something bad happened, but those motions are already in place too, to make sure that that's shored up. And you look at some of these other shows that we've been to, like Albert Lee, and the changing of the guard. with everybody being able to understand a little bit better what the metric caddies have to do. It won't be long before they take these metric caddy tricks and start applying them to the
Oldsmobile or
the
Pontiac,
Oldsmobile, the Pontiacs and stuff like that, the 85 Impalas and stuff. And it's going to breathe new life into cars that were just scrap cars. It was scrap, garbage stuff. And now the 80s and newer, you've got some more options for things along those lines. And I think that there's definitely a new breath of life that's come into the sport.
You know, we just touched quickly on the numbers of just sheer numbers of cars that are here this weekend. I don't think there's many motorsports where 2 different classes are paid over 10 grand to win.
Right.
And next year it's going to to be 3 classes paid 10 grand.
Yeah, I mean, how about
or
that?
over to win. I mean, that's
You better start
unlike
stocking more
anything
compact stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, who is even paying $3,000 to win?
Yeah.
Let alone 10.
Well, there's a 10,000 to win mini smash show this year at the
In
Fall
Canada.
Brawl show up in Canada.
Canada,
They're
yeah.
paying 10 grand up there. They hit 10 grand when these guys were talking about upping it to 3 or 5 or something along those lines, and then they took the plunge and went right off the deep end and said next year it's going to be 10 grand with a whole compact program run on Friday.
Yeah, and those are good shows too. I mean, they're fun to watch, and we're gonna have to figure something out there because we get all kinds of calls about, well, what do you got for 3-2 and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't have anything. Sorry. And
You don't have
we need to
anything
figure out.
yet.
Don't have anything. Yeah, that's right. We need somebody to get into that space because those guys are looking for it.
Yep, it's out there. The demand is out there, and place to go to find it, dirtyparts.com.
Yeah, it needs to be on our radar this winter when things slow down. Well, slow down is a relative thing nowadays. But
What's not on your radar at this point? I mean, really, what's not on your radar? Because even if you don't know about it, somebody's calling you and telling you to get wise,
well, that's
right?
it. And we get a lot of calls of guys. I just need the guy to call to say, hey, I'm making a cradle for these cars. We need to get it on your store. And I get those calls all the time, and somebody will call with that, or if not, we'll get our shop to figure it out eventually here. We're just having a hard time keeping up with the stuff we already do, let alone making new stuff. At this time of year, there is no new stuff. Yeah, that's only during the winter.
Well, good things. Derby's not dying, and neither is derbyparts.com. Continuing to grow. I appreciate you coming by. It was good to see you again.
Thanks for having me. It's good to see you guys.
You going to come up and help us out at Keystone Nationals, too?
Yeah, if I'll track you guys down when I'm up there, and we'll stop by.
We won't be hard to find. We're going to be on a stage in the middle of everything.
You'll be there.
I'll be tethered to the computer.
Thanks,
Just
guys.
awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks
a
for being
lot.
on, Wayne.
Wade Sicking, dirtyparts.com, hanging out with us. Thanks again for stopping by. We've got waiting on
sir.
Matt. Where'd Matt go? Matt Floss. How's it going, guys? Hey, man, throw that headset on so that you can hear us. Might be able to hear us a little bit better over the car noises going on behind us. Matt Foss joining us here at the table. Arguably the co-runner-up or the co-winner, justifiably, with the performance you put on with that Mopar and the Turn Back the Claws Mad Dog Sweepstakes, man. Great run on that. Congratulations.
Hey, thank
with
you very
that.
much.
Jesse comes away with the hardware, but you did excellent job. You made the judges' job real tough.
Well, we came out here to put a show on, and hopefully the crowd enjoyed it.
Well, I can tell you from a Mopar fan, when they said go and you hit that Cadillac wide open full track, I was like, yeah, he knows what he's got with the front of that. That was awesome. You set the tone, and like I told Jesse, you guys all were real close, but he made it a little bit longer. You know what I mean? But I mean, the shots you were delivering, you were definitely making junk every time you hit something. There was no light shots out there with that Mopar. It was awesome.
Picked up right where you left off last time we saw you.
Yeah, I think last time we saw you guys, you were out in Bird Island in Minnesota, back in our home turf.
And,
Yeah.
So,
you
no,
were
it
out
was
there?
good. I was a little disappointed when we came out there. I asked if I could back into my spot, and they told me I had to nose in. So it took me a little bit to get the first one lined up, but we got it there.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
And by the way, I see someone intently leaning over the table, making sure. Is there anybody that you'd like to thank before we go any further?
Well, first I better thank my wife, even though he's back here leaning over the table. Without her, I couldn't do any of this stuff. So thank you, Emily. Lee Angstrom. Definitely, without him, I wouldn't have been out here. He makes unbelievable raps.
He just totally turned his back to us, so he's happy now. I guess. But tell us about the car. You know what went into the build. I had some information trickling in a little bit. Lee was keeping me posted as you guys were going through inspection. That you basically had your fingers crossed that nobody'd seen a Mopar before. Then you had to cut the thing apart.
Well, it was kind of a sprint to the finish.
Yeah.
You know, with everybody obviously has full-time jobs, and they do this on the side as a hobby. And we were really, really thrashing that last week to get it done. And, you know, coming from 14 hours away, we left on Thursday, and we hadn't started the car yet. I had never driven it. And
Right.
it
The
was
first time
to
this
leave.
car was fired was when they backed it off the trailer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
We got here, and I had to paint it. Lee made me paint it so that he could decal it so it looked nice when we were going 14 hours. Then the first
You
thing
got
we
a good
did-
graphics guy. You better listen to him.
Yeah. Hey, when he says it, we do it. When we got here, we checked into the hotel right away, and I think we upset a number
On a
of...
side note, before you go into that, on a side note, great graphics guy. He got all the decals on it. Told you what colors to use and everything like that. How much welding did he do on it?
Lee?
Yeah.
Well, interesting thing, Lee, those cargo shorts he's got on, those are his welding shorts. He was over there burning some wire into it, and he looked just like that. Awesome.
That's
Tough
awesome.
guy. Iron Man. So anyway, back to the hotel.
No, when we got here, the first thing we did was we checked into the hotel, and we had to start finishing up wiring and body lines, and I think we woke up some elderly people because the windows were open and they were taking pictures of us, so we didn't know what to do. We just kept finishing it and came over here and crossed our fingers that when we started it actually moved off the trailer, and it did.
What motor's in it?
It's a built 350.
Ugh.
You know, it was good talking to you.
I have to defend it a little bit. I do have a built 360 at home,
Yes.
but
Go
the
on.
way that I intended to run this show, I thought I was going to break a lot of things, and I have a lot more money in my Mopar motor, so I thought I'd sacrifice the Chevy and leave the Mopar
Absolutely.
at
Now
home.
there's a man after my heart. I like that.
350 is disposable.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. You know, I had every intentions of coming out here and wadding it up, but
you did.
I got a caddy up over top me, and it bent the wrong way, so that
Yeah,
wasn't so good.
I went over and looked this morning. I was kind of surprised. I've seen Mopars bend down in the front, but it's rare, and I wasn't.
Dan Bolton.
I wasn't sure at what point that happened, but now I remember what you were talking. I know what you're talking about now. But I mean, as a whole, the front was very, very tough.
Yeah, we tried a few different things to it, and I was interested to see
Like
what was
what?
going to happen.
Nothing we're going to talk about.
Nothing specific, but you know, I wish, coming from a long ways away, we built it pretty much right to the rules. I mean, we weren't going to take chances that we were going to load it up and go home 14 hours. I really wish I would have had that bumper height up a little bit. I think had we not gotten cleared, we could have gone a little bit longer and made a little bit deeper run. I don't know if I could have hung with those boys to the end and gone to the feature, but I think I could have made a little bit more junk before it was done.
You know what the thing though is we all know that the weak spot of a Mopar is the back end, but you weren't sitting still long enough for anybody to get a hold of your back end. I mean, you backed up with it, and you know you made junk at the back end too. But you, as much as you were moving, you weren't going to get one of those shots that junks a Chrysler. You know what I mean? That was, you definitely knew what you had going in, and you knew what you had to do, and did a great job of it. I mean, everybody knew you were here, which is awesome.
Well, that's great. You know, coming from a long ways away, I know I had a lot of boys in Minnesota watching, and I wanted to make the state proud. So I hope when I get home, they're not laughing.
No, I don't think you have anybody doing that.
Well, good. And I have to send a shout out to Punisher Trans as well, because I didn't ever lift off the gas pedal.
Nope,
I
you
was
didn't.
just shifting.
Nope, you were definitely shifted on the fly. It was impressive.
Inflicting it.
Yep. But hey, this has been great. Thank you guys for having me
you
come
bet.
here. I appreciate it.
You
And maybe we'll see you guys back in Minnesota this year.
We'll be out there for Wadena,
All right.
and I think it's a safe assumption we're going to be back out there for Winter Slam again in February, which we have a great time out there. I mean, I love
Yeah,
that show.
because we go to Minnesota in February instead of Florida. We're a little different. So
Hey, I think everybody in the Derby world's a little different, so that's fine.
yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna have to send Lee over now.
All right, I'll send them over.
All
Thank
right,
you guys
perfect.
very much.
You bet.
Great
man.
show, man.
Thanks a lot. Well done. Fun guy to talk to, right?
Absolutely. It's up in y'all's Hollywood. I like that.
It's embarrassing. How we doing, guys?
Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you as well.
Thanks for coming over, man. I guess the most pressing question that everybody's wondering: how's school been?
School is going good. We're on the countdown, so I had a couple AP kids that are done with their tests already. So
Yeah.
I got about 2 weeks of finals, and that'll wrap up.
When is last day?
June 4th, Thursday. We
Not
got a grading day
counting
Friday, and then we're off. So
We got to go until the 20. It's the Saturday before Keystone Nationals.
21st,
That's
20th.
the very last day. 19th.
20th. Yeah.
19th.
But definitely to say the countdown is on. That's
Yes,
for sure.
yeah. There's a lot of teachers. A lot of teachers in Midlake that are thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Looking forward to a fun summer. So what have you been up to? I mean, you got graphics all over the place. Cars are looking great.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So, it's just something I enjoy doing. Obviously, it's in my spare time, teaching, and got 2 little ones at home. So, it's just something I enjoy doing. And, I think the most, satisfying thing is when, you send a guy a proof and, hey, that's exactly what I want. And,
Right.
just to see that they're happy, I mean, that's what you want to try to provide.
How great is it when they just give you, like, I want this number and these colors, and you send them the proof, and they're like, oh, that's exactly what I wanted, right?
Yeah, that's about 95%. Some guys are like, hey, I don't know how to go about this. Like, what do I start with? I'm like, honestly, just send me your content, your colors. I'll go from there, and
Right.
I'll make it. I'm not going to make it until you approve it, and it's exactly what you want. So.
Absolutely. How many times do you have to? You get a guy that says, "Yeah, I want a roof sign, but make 3 or 4 of them, and I'll pick one."
Yeah, I've had that, but at the same time too, I tell them it's an investment. I mean, if I'm in their position, if I'm in their shoes, I'm going to want to ensure that I get exactly what I want.
Right.
So.
No. I mean, before they even start, they want 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're going to pick one of those, right?
Yeah, that's right though.
So what's your summer got in store? I mean, you're coming up on you getting out of school here in just a matter of days now.
Yeah.
Where are we going to see you?
Yeah, a lot of time with the family, I think. So, like I said, my son just turned 1. I got a daughter that's 4.5. So family comes first. Other than that, I got some hockey to do.
Yeah.
And then some graphics and maybe some shows. We'll see if we hop in a car or not. So.
I forgot. Your kid's 4 already?
Yeah.
Whoa. That went fast, didn't it?
It did, yeah, absolutely.
Did you bring anything out to vend out the back of the trailer, or just come here to enjoy the show?
Nope, just coming to help Matt. So just coming to support him and obviously watch a good show. So we came out last year and, we had a blast last year. And on the way home, we were talking, we're like, if we come out again, we might as well bring a car. And, and we got our buddy Brad Hogan that came with us as well. So, we're all here just to support Matt and help him out. So
you get to watch many shows anymore? You get to go just watch Taking the Derby and enjoy it?
It's gone down quite a bit the last couple of years, and now I almost, it feels like I just get to a couple a year. It almost seems like a couple bigger shows and, a couple local shows, but the frequency of going to shows every weekend, and it was just my wife and I, that was feasible, but when you throw the kids in there, and it gets a little bit more difficult. But
And you got a full stash of Power Wheels?
We do not. Well, we got a stash of toys. I'll put it that way, but not necessarily Power Wheels.
No, not yet.
Because those guys were just in my garage the last weekend, so they saw all the toys that we have for the kids. So,
but no Power Wheels yet.
No, not yet. I don't know if my wife would be so kosher about her daughter doing it, and we'll see about her.
Has she asked about it?
No, we haven't really been brought up. So.
No, that's
and she
that's by design. It sounds.
Yeah, I don't know.
Funny.
I don't know if she would be in favor of that or not. And she comes from, her dad raced mods for a long time, and so she's, privy to the motorsports environment and whatnot. But that's our little princess too at the same time. So
it's funny. Chris's wife hasn't really said much about the Power Wheels either, because he hasn't brought that up to her either. So it's funny how that works out.
We've had some entry-level conversations about it. It was a lot of. I did a lot of listening.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
And a lot of yes dears.
I do have to say, I think that is something really cool in the last couple of years that we've seen, and not necessarily to give back, but I mean to give those kids an opportunity. I remember being, 5, 6 years old. There were a couple guys that ran cars, and that's how I first got into it. And I never envisioned driving one because they said I'd be sick by the time I'd be ready to drive one. But, I remember going to the fair, and there was only, one show a year. I didn't travel anywhere. I just went and watched those 2 guys, and I remember just feeling sick to my stomach, before they got started. And back then it was all, GM wagons and imps, and that was about it. But yeah, I would have jumped at the bit if they would have had something like that when I was little too.
You come from one of our favorite parts of the country. I mean, hands down, the driving style up there and what they run. When you had the chance to go to your local shows, was it basically like that was the only show in the country? That was the only place in the world that did demolition derbies was your hometown fair? Is that the way it was when you were a kid going?
At that time, absolutely. And you kind of knew quite a few guys, but I remember. I don't know how old I was, 10, 11, 12, something like that, and there was a show a half hour away from us, and now we go to it all the time, and to me that was strange to go to another town.
Right.
Otherwise that was the big deal at that county fair, at our hometown show. But
So what's your car of choice? Were you excited about him Matt driving the Mopar?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's ran a few of them. So we knew, like I said, coming from last year, we knew this is kind of GM area. And I talked to a few guys that are from here, and they're like, "Oh, we see him every once in a while, but this show, predominantly GM. But stick with what you know and adapt and go from there." So.
I could have swore, and I'm going to feel dumb if I'm wrong at this because I mentioned this. I could have swore that we saw Matt drive at Winter Slam this year.
What's that?
Winter Slam this year. Was Matt was at Winter Slam? No?
We were there. We were there watching, but yeah, we didn't.
I know. Jamie was there, but I thought we'd seen him there.
Man, Chris, usually you're right on that
I know.
stuff. I can't
dropped the
believe
ball,
it.
But when he mentioned Bird Island,
How many
it clicked.
toothpicks?
What's that?
How many toothpicks?
287. But when he mentioned Bird Island, it clicked. It's like, you know what?
Sure.
That is it. We've been to Minnesota more times than we've been to Florida in my life.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've been to what twice this year so far?
I've been to Minnesota more times than I've been to Ohio.
Yeah, we lucked out. I think the last couple of years at Winter Slam with the weather, there was. I don't know if it was 3 or 4 years ago. I think the temp didn't get above -10. And there was
Yeah,
a
that was
chill there. and
remember
that was a long day, that's for sure. But last couple of years have been pretty good.
We flew out last year, and when we landed in Minnesota, it was 30 degrees warmer than when we left New York because it was negative when we left New York.
That was this year.
Yeah, that's what I said. This year.
Oh, I thought that's
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was
great.
beautiful.
This year, last year.
Well, and it was funny too because I seen some people walking around just bundled right up, and I sweatshirt, couple sweatshirts, and I was good. I'm like, this is nice. I like it.
That's like I speak for these guys. I'm obviously a little red here. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it is hot. Yesterday I'm like, I can't take this. It's a little too early. The sun's a little intense down here. I'm not used to that.
Last year it was about 20 degrees warmer though. At least there's a breeze this year, and it's a little cooler. And of course, Chris has been camping out over here doing the PR stuff for us, and I've been watching derbies. So he hasn't been out in the sun much.
But the thing is like, yes, I haven't had a chance to get over to see a whole lot in terms of what's going on the track, but we've been meeting up with so many people.
That's what I mean. You're doing PR
and watching basically for a very, very few minutes. I was the interim president of Big Rock Derby Products.
Wow, I
was the only one here.
I bet you that gives Dave a warm feeling inside.
So what are you guys looking forward to mostly tonight?
Wire class.
Yeah, I think we just talked about the same thing. We were back at the car for a little bit, just hanging out, getting some Gatorade and whatnot, and we're like, hey, as soon as that wire class comes, we got to get up there and make sure we can check that out. So
basically, you guys just sat around that car and wait for you to come by and ask for autographs because everybody knows that Mopar right now.
We have had a few visitors, so Matt's probably one of the most humble guys that you'll meet. So it's been interesting, guys coming by, and it's just kind of the same thing. Thank you very much, appreciate it, and it's not really anything different, than kind of what we see around our area. So you kind of got to be on the gas for the most part. So
I actually was walking around the pits and I saw it on the trailer. I went over and kind of walked around and I'm like, yeah, they got their money's worth out of that Mopar. There's not much left on that. So it was great to see though. I mean, I was happy. They said go and he went, and that was it was great to watch. It was really fun.
We had people messaging us like crazy from home that were watching.
Oh, really?
That were watching online. Just like, did you see that? Yeah. That's one of the guys from Minnesota. That's pretty much what they do.
Yeah, that's Minnesota style right there. That's awesome. Good to see.
That was fun. That's for sure. So he did a nice job with what he had. Yes, so
absolutely.
Limited time that he had to, but.
Yep.
So what else is new? What do we got coming down the line?
Anything you need, And I was trying to think, try to offer anything that people would want, and and that's about it. So.
I'll show you what you need to work on.
All right.
Right there. The RC cars.
Yeah,
there's
a
lot
the
of.
first time I've seen them was this year, so.
There's a lot of guys that are in the market for roof signs for those.
Yeah, well, I got a Power Wheels order over here, so I got to get going on some smaller scale ones, and we can hook some people up with that.
Basically, they're 1/10 scale, so just
Yeah,
take that,
just
take
scale
that,
it down.
scale it down, done.
Be good to go. Yeah, absolutely. So, but
awesome. So you got some water to go drink or something else instead?
Yeah, we have some beverages. We're sticking to the Gatorade. I am anyway. So I drove home last night.
You guys leaving tonight or tomorrow?
I think we're planning on leaving tonight. We did the same thing last year. We left, I don't know what time it was, 11:30, midnight.
Yeah.
And it was still going on, and we got to Indy, west side of Indy, stayed overnight, woke up Monday, and then did the last leg. So we're kind of hoping to do the same thing this year.
A lot of the guys going west have that same plan, given that the 500's today.
The 500, yeah. This year, the way out, it wasn't too bad. Last year, I remember we had construction too, but it was really busy in Indy. Slowed us down a lot, and but on the way back it wasn't too bad. So we're hoping for the same result here.
Very good. Well, it's great to finally catch up.
Absolutely.
It's good to see you.
Very much.
Hey,
Definitely.
before you take off, though, I do want to
Yeah.
comment on one thing. I like the fact that two guys that are in the graphics business sit here and talk face to face and laugh and joke, and enough room for everybody, and everybody gets along great, man. That is awesome.
What do we got to fight about?
That is awesome.
You know, I
Great to
see
see.
that. I see
A
a
lot
lot
of-
of posts online where people are like, "Oh, you know, who should I get a roof sign?" And you know, and if
You
I
don't
do
even
a
post. You don't post on there.
You know, if I
don't
do a
bother.
post, I say, "Hey, it doesn't matter. Everyone that is a great guy.
Yep,
everyone
absolutely.
that I've met, we're all on the same page. It's not like anyone's trying to undercut anyone else. It's, I tell the client, I don't care who you go to, just whatever you like the best.
I'm glad.
and go
I'm
with
actually
that.
glad you brought that up because for the next hour we're going to run a Crush Lee Engstrom special.
So Chris, you wouldn't be upset then when I get my new Lee Engstrom sign for next year? You're going to be okay with that?
No, I'd be
All
fine.
right, just had to make sure.
No, but it is. I don't know if everyone really understands that it's not in my terms
all.
and anyone else that I've talked to, or everyone that does it is in it for the right reason. It's not to make money because there's a lot of time, as
Yeah.
involved in it, and it's just to try to deliver a product. We're all doing the same thing. So
Just do something that is going to make that driver feel like a rock star.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, that's
Help
all.
the
icing
sport.
on the cake. You work hard, getting that car ready, and it's kind of nice to be able to put something nice on. And
You know what it is too.
So-
It's nice for the guys that truly want to better the sport, that can work together and not try to tear it down. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
great when guys work to make our sport better. We need more of that. That's
Yep.
what it's going to take to help grow the sport.
Yep,
It's awesome.
absolutely.
It's awesome to see.
Couldn't agree more.
I like it. No, the guys don't. If you do take off, make sure you come back. So I want to catch up with you when we don't have the mics.
All
on.
right, sounds good.
Yeah, definitely come
I'll
back.
stop back in here in a little bit.
Yeah,
We'll
definitely
go watch
do
that wire class.
Lee, thanks for stopping,
All right.
man.
Yeah, maybe you
guys.
get him to the track. I can't, but
You can.
Thank you, guys.
You bet.
All right,
dude.
take care.
We'll catch you later. See you, man. Lee Engstrom stopping by for a little while. Hopefully we'll get to catch up with him. We do got one more guy that has to come on. If Dave, if you're free, I know
is this the guy that doesn't like Mopars that's coming back on the show?
we're gonna follow up.
Oh, great.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're doing great. Dave Diver once again from Big Rock Products. It's been so cool to actually have the reins of Big Rock periodically through the course of this weekend. I was the only one in the booth, so I felt like I actually was doing something special.
Yeah,
It was cool. And I didn't sell anything while you were gone. I didn't change any.
There was no
prices or anything?
discounts or anything?
Nope. I had to watch it because you had a little bit of work to do overnight, making some special made headers.
yeah, I got a question asked if I'd make a special set of headers, and I said, well, let me see what I can do. So I went back to the shop last night, and I actually did. I actually came up with a set of 360 Mopar headers for him.
Oh, boy.
And here they are. So now I made my first set of Mopar headers.
Wow, that's
They're 4-1s.
4-1s. That's great. Thanks a lot, buddy. I really appreciate
You're
that.
welcome, and I'll sponsor you those. So those are free.
That's great. That is awesome. Hey, the guys from Big Rock. Like I said, we talked about it at Brookville. Stepped up, handed out. He was already a part of the points thing, and he said, "Hey, whoever wins this is going to get a set of headers." He gave away a set of headers here, gave away a set of headers there. Great guy right there.
Right.
Even though he doesn't make Mopar stuff, he makes some really great parts. Support Dave. He supports the Derby world. But thank you. I appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem. Anytime.
Having a pretty good day so far,
It's real slow today.
dude. You don't have anything left to sell.
Well, I know I have like 2 cradles, and,
That's it.
And 4 sets of mounts, but it's been a real good weekend. It's the turn back to clock class has just been amazing for the destruction that these guys are putting
Yes.
their cars through. Like I heard you say that the bronze 1 car is, pretty hurt in the S's, and it is. But when it comes back out,
It'll
it's
be
gonna
fine.
It's gonna be tough.
It's going to be fine. I mean, we talked at length about the performance again. Matt Foss, who was on just a few minutes ago, and then we had the chance to catch up earlier with the Mad Dog Award winner, Jesse Kunkel, and the damage that they were willing to put their cars through, as you said, the carnage that was wrought out there in those qualifying heats. There was a lot of stuff that was just annihilated. They had a lot of work to do today to get ready for the features.
Yeah, I mean, I got here at 7:30 this morning, and there was guys already working on their feature cars. It's amazing the time that these guys are putting into these cars to go back out
Oh yeah.
for the feature. And, obviously I do the same thing when I make a big feature like this. You know, you start first thing in the morning and you're not done until they're saying last call.
Yep, yep. But I after I, Chris and I set up a little bit here, and I carried some bags for him and stuff, and I went and walked around, and to see what the 80s and newers class, the rebuilds those guys are doing for the feature. Holy cow!
Yeah, I mean
it's impressive.
What they're doing. They should run the dog snot out of those.
Oh, yeah.
They should. I mean, they should be able to just hold it on the wood and first to reverse no matter what and just junk some stuff.
We saw a little bit of that, but it wasn't in the 80s class.
No.
A couple guys went out there and got
like
it.
I said, Jones there in a 345. He put on a good show. They stepped it up a little bit in the consi. Hopefully in the feature, I'm pretty sure Tim was going to have a talk with the boys and say, hey, look, and go from there. So hopefully there's some more aggression today. It'd definitely help.
Yeah, I mean now you're going to go into the class where the feature, and that's where you're going to win the big money. So if they're not hitting, I'm sure that those guys give them a warning. If they're going to sandbag, they're going to throw them out. I'm sure.
Yeah, I would hope, and that's the thing. I mean, if you do that once or twice and throw some guys out, then they're going to start hitting because they don't want to lose the money because they weren't driving for. I mean, that's definitely. I definitely think they can pick up the pace, and I think the officials will help them today to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're going to have everybody on a short leash. Ironically, the Mad Dog is on the longest leash. Think about that. Mind blown. He's got the most free reign. Nobody's bothering him. Nobody's talking to him.
Except that the Mad Dog's going to be watching because he broke the bell off his training.
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, but I heard that I heard Jesse asking Russ when they were over here at the booth about something if his car was still good enough to come out of the wire class if they could run the 80s or the feature with it, and I believe Russ said yeah. Now,
really?
Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive he said yeah.
So he's going to run the wire class and then take and start burning wire.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
how great would that be?
That would be awesome just to watch Jesse go and junk and ruin somebody's day in a wire
car. Yeah, because he would do that.
Yeah, oh yeah, he would definitely be pillar parking.
There's not going to be anything left though. The wire class car, he's not going to have anything left.
No,
unless he goes out there with the intentions of just.
Yeah, he's not going to do that.
That's not in his playbook.
No. He's definitely here for one reason, and he is doing it. So, pretty awesome.
Well, it has been an absolute ball here. I love the fact that we're on Vendors Row and being able to hang out with Big Rock and meet up, chat with Jim Youngblood, and thanks so much for the hospitality, Dave. It's been an absolute ball.
Oh no, thank you guys. I mean, it was great to have you guys here, and I get to mess with him and build him a set of Mopar headers and stuff like that. So maybe he can go bolt those on his motor, tomorrow when he gets home or so, and see how they sound.
Oh man, you know what they say about paybacks? It's cool though. Now we know it's all good. We'll get it straight out.
Well, I just want to let you know Bobby Brockway is the one that told me to do that for you.
Yeah, I just sent him a text that said my new headers, and he sent me the thumbs up. So that's all right. I got broad shoulders. I could take it.
Yeah, so does Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's cool though.
We're just about ready to get out of here, Dave. I appreciate everything. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Chris Polly's going to jump in here quick. What was awesome was I was able to dodge the bullet. He didn't bring anything up about the 360 number painted on the hood of my
he did.
My RC car. He didn't bring that up at all.
He did mention that it didn't go so good because it had the 360 in it. But
yep. And
ladies and gentlemen, the famous pork chop is in the house.
Rounding out our carousel of guests for the afternoon update here from the Big Rock booth. Pork chop, Chris Polly, one of the only guys left of his party that was left standing after Friday. Is young friend John Peck, who's in good health this weekend. Yes, excellent, good to hear. Nodded off, or I don't know, how'd you word it? Blacked out, I believe is how I said. Blacked out at the wheel of his AT, or the side by side rather. Just simply nodded right off and took a little nap there. Took a nap and woke up with apparently had taken a blow to the head because he had a headache that was remarkable.
Oh. yeah, I'm sure that's what it was from. That's all right.
For what?
Huh?
For what?
Putting that.
I didn't say anything bad.
I don't know.
I just relayed the story you told me.
I know, little fella. He said yesterday, I feel like death.
Today's gonna feel worse than death.
Oh.
It's a hot day today.
Oh,
big guys are sweating.
Yeah.
I think I've lost 10 pounds.
It's been kind of nice being underneath the tent for a while here with Chris.
I was gonna guess you lost more than that, seeing as how you're traveling without John.
Well, Yeah.
Pork Chop must have had a rough night last night because I see he's drinking some juice today, trying to rehydrate.
I'm done. No alcohol for at least a month. I can't take it anymore. I'm getting too old for this stuff.
Pork Chop is making deals with God.
Yeah, we've all been there.
It's bad. It's bad.
Slam man, Mike Decker.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, hey, give a quick wave to Grandpa Decker.
We got the Slam man, ladies and gentlemen, world famous.
Mike Decker hanging out behind us. Pretty cool to see him.
You know, I wish I'd have been able to bring my boy. He's just missing you guys.
Wow, yeah, we miss having him on. He was a ball to talk to when he was on down in Owenton. Belated birthday, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
And got to come up here and celebrate your birthday with Peter and John. What do you think so far?
I'd say the 80s class is going to get interesting.
Oh, yeah. All right, now, are you going to put all your chips on Daryl Monroe? Going to be a homer?
Yeah, I think he can do it.
Because everybody else that wants to pull for someone other than Dustin Ingram is going to be disappointed. He's looking like he's in awful good shape. I'm not, by the way, backing off my call of Luke Johnson, but Dustin Ingram is looking awful good right now. You picked him, right?
I picked Logan Duvall.
Oh, you picked Logan.
I'd say the best looking one right now is Shane Jones.
Shane's in
Yeah,
good shape.
that Ford was
That car
tough.
is nasty.
Yes.
By far nasty.
Sounds like we're getting some VH running behind us.
Remember when we were in Owenton during the consolation round when unfortunately Aaron was injured. I think he just broken shoulder.
Yes.
It was, and those two guys that were teeing off on Aaron.
Yes.
The Longs, I believe. 01.
Yep.
Had a chance to meet him today.
Oh, really?
I wanted to tell you he was here, and,
Cool.
and I met his dad, and his brother wasn't here, but had a chance to meet him. It was cool to chat with him. Cool dude, real cool dude. Turns out they're related to Aaron. Like somehow it's family, which I didn't know.
I didn't either.
I was like, well, I'd hate to see what you do to your enemies.
Yeah. I wonder what Thanksgiving dinner would be.
I know, right?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
He said, we're actually family. I'm like, so imagine what happens to friends and enemies on the backside of that. Holy cow. But yeah, it was cool to meet up with those guys. They traveled up from your neck of the woods. The trip up went pretty smooth.
Yeah, this one here is actually close for me. It's an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not
Oh, that's not bad at all.
And hopefully you got the chance here to take in the runs of Matt Foss and Jesse Kunkel in the
yes,
turn
I
back to
loved
clock
it.
divisions.
I loved it. I was standing up on the bleachers, maybe almost fell off. But
So so you liked that, right?
Yes.
You enjoyed what they did, and Brian, you can help me out with this. Now, when we were told about putting the hammer down and driving hard, that's what we meant. that was what we had.
I knew it was coming up. I knew it, but I've told everybody as an official.
Oh, actually, this is actually yes. I've heard this.
I don't see the reason how I get the choice to make whoever drive their car. They've spent the money. They've built it. They should be able to drive how they see to get their money, to put themselves in a position to finish the best that they can.
That is a pro driver promoter, which is not a passing of judgment. The flip side to that argument. Let's go from a fan's point of view. This in the stands, and let's have a conversation about this because I love where you're coming from. That's a very pro driver point of view. Let them settle it how they want to settle it. How then do we satisfy the crowd? The crowd in Kentucky was a crowd that I've never come across before because they weren't pushing the issue whatsoever. It was folks that had come back on that. So this is interesting.
The more money it seems like you throw at them, the slower they go.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Totally
our
agree.
fair shows down there, they're junk. I mean, they.
You mean the cars? The cars are wasted.
You drop the green flag and they're gone. I mean, it's like, okay, 15 minutes, they're all over the wall. But also, everybody that was in the Owenton show ran pro mods. You can do that to those cars. You can run hard all night and not bend.
And which is a topic that we touched
so
on.
then you're down stepping to a car that bends, and plus everybody's late, everybody's aggravated from inspection.
You guys, I can't imagine what that inspection line was like when everybody started showing up with the 11th hour. It had to have been a nightmare.
I'll tell you, for a 6'5" guy and a little over 350, They said I was in places that most skinny guys wouldn't get.
which was something that we've beat this point to death was inspection. Regardless of delays, inspection was fair and even for everybody.
Yes.
The time was invested to make sure that the playing field was even.
Yes. Every driver has come to me, even the ones that were loaded on the trailer. This is the fairest inspection we've seen.
Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. Now just get everybody inspection time so they show up at a reasonable hour.
Well, we had a few other issues, but that happens.
That is true. I was thinking mostly that the guys that were rolling in when the show's supposed to start at 7 and they're coming through the gates at 6:20.
Yeah,
but,
that's never good.
Back to the how do you get the drivers to drive harder? I can do everything on the wall. I can jump down on the track. I can talk to them. Perfect example, Darryl Monroe and Chuck Roby. They wasn't hitting. I stepped down, talked to them, said, hey, boys, you got to turn it up. And they proceed to annihilate their cars. That was the hardest I've seen them two run that early.
With Darryl running down to 4th.
Yeah.
I mean, he got deep.
So
it was I would definitely go. I would definitely go back again. I enjoyed the atmosphere down there. It was a fun place to see a derby.
We were treated like gold down there. It was awesome.
We loved the show. Certainly there was some questions in the pace of it, which we've talked about a bunch of times personally, publicly, all of that stuff, and I don't feel that we've been unfair about it. But on the flip side of it, we had a ton of drivers come up and say that they enjoyed it. We met a ton of people, and I think a few little tweaks in terms of getting people there on time. It starts on time, and a lot of the other stuff doesn't even count.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Definitely
and
true.
That was our second big show like that. So I mean, we're learning.
But there's going to be more.
Oh, you guys did great.
There's going to be more coming.
Oh, absolutely.
West Virginia is going to be awesome.
You going to have an RC car by then?
Well, I was going to actually talk to you and see if you're going to have to help me out.
I'll help you out.
I don't know how to build something.
I'll get you in touch with the right people. You got to have one.
Now, Power Wheels.
Power Wheels
down.
He does. He's got one that's got a brace frame so he can drive it. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a mean Power Wheels he's got.
My son, he is so ready to go back to Blizzard Bash. I'm building him 2 to take, so 1 won't pass inspection.
So he can get trailered.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Sam Williams had a stroke when he seen his this year. Wait till he sees this one.
That's great. Not sure what's running, but it's loud.
Dave, what's on the track right now? Wire class?
80s wire.
80s wire.
So,
I know. Call it a day, so you can see the whole derby.
That means that you guys got to get out of here because the show that you're waiting for is coming.
Yeah,
we got a couple of things to take care of here, but yeah, let's. We got to do this real quick. Let's play through a couple of these quickly, and we'll be right back.
Are you good enough to be recognized as a reckless warrior? Bo Lockwood Motorsports' 2015 Demolition Derby schedule will now be combined into the Reckless Warrior Tour, designed to give rewards and recognition to drivers that support Bo Lockwood Motorsports. The schedule starts at the 5,000 to win Superstock Championships May 9th at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds in Brookville, Pennsylvania. The tour then goes to the Keystone Nationals, which has moved to the Westmoreland County Fairgrounds June 27th. The Jefferson County Fair Championships follows, with the limited road cars back in the limelight as they chase a $3,000 payday in Brookville, with the Reckoning 2 following on August 1st at the Clarion County Fairgrounds in Clarion, Pennsylvania. The series finishes with the final encounter September 4th and 5th at the Stoneboro County Fair. In all, there is more than $75,000 in prize money available among the 6 shows and features some of the largest purses in the Keystone State. Drivers will earn points based on their feature appearances and heat and feature finishes, with bonuses awarded for passing inspection and getting a stick on the first try. The season will end with a points banquet where Bo Lockwood Motorsports will crown the deadliest warrior. That driver will then have his selection of one of the 10 prizes from the Reckless Warrior partners. For more details on the 2015 Reckless Warriors Tour, visit their Facebook page and check out blmotorsports.net. The Crash Course would like to thank DerbyParts.com, an industry leader in aftermarket parts. DerbyParts.com has become the go-to source for builders looking to make one stop for all their derby needs. A proud partner of the Reckless Warrior Series and Big Rock Derby products. And for Brock, Sean Fell, and inventory includes cradles, mounts, fans, radiators, adapters, tanks, and much, much more. DerbyParts.com truly offers one-stop shopping for builders ready to level. Go online and check them out from bumper to bumper. Travel back to the good old days of Demolition Derby in New York. The card includes a 2. The compacts and junk run are also on the schedule. 2. Call Brett Relier at 607-327-2705 or Josh Decker at 607-725-2194 for additional details. For rules questions, call Mark Benjamin at 607-215-2149. That's the Kings of Old School, June 6th, Broome County Fairgrounds, Whitney Point, New York. Demo Derby Masters offers a wide array of stock derby parts and accessories that have all been derby tested. Demo Derby Masters also offers custom fabrication, meaning your homespun garage idea can become a finely produced reality. Their team of engineers and Demo Derby drivers have designed, manufactured, and derby tested all parts to ensure quality and durability, even under the most extreme conditions. DemoDerbyMasters.com also carries a full line of helmets, fire suits, gloves, and belts, and Kaiser's own branded oils and fluids. Parts are manufactured, housed, and shipped out of their 140,000 square foot facility located in Coopersville, Michigan. Order online at DemoDerbyMasters.com or contact them by phone at 800-472-2464 or email info@DemoDerbyMasters.com.
And we're back, just coming back to wrap up our midday recap with Chris Pauley, Brian Tompkins, Chris Marquardt with the Crash Course Podcast. Just a reminder to everybody, Crash Course Podcast airs every Monday night on FingerLakes1.tv, except for Memorial Day tomorrow.
Except this Monday.
We're going to take tomorrow off. We're going to move the show to Tuesday. Try and catch up with a couple of the winners from out here at the Bash for Cash 2015. Coming to you live from the Big Rock Products Pavilion, as it were, with all these awnings and everything that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I know you're looking forward to the wire class, 80s wire class is on track right now. But so talking, maybe we're going to catch up with you at Kings of Old School, or excuse me, Keystone Nationals.
Hopefully. We'll see.
You got to get permission from
the boss.
Which boss?
Mr. Peck.
You got to bring him along. You got to talk him into coming.
We have a show that night. So
Oh, okay. All right.
If one boss can't be there, then the other one's got to be. So
maybe when you bring that up, he's going to say to himself, "That's a great idea."
Yeah. Why don't you run the Derby? I'm going to Kings Hall. Yeah, that'd be cool.
But no, I'd love to go see Bo show. I mean, I hear great things about him.
Yeah, there's good stuff coming out of that part of Pennsylvania, man. Bo's got a great thing. You just saw an ad for the Reckless Warriors Tour, and that is coming up on the 20th of June. Kings of Old School coming up before that on the 6th of June, and then we've got the 20th of June is the Lazenby's show out there in Utah.
It's 20th.
It's going to be a busy month.
Yeah.
Month. We're going to be in New York, Pennsylvania, Utah. And I'm going to finish the month in the last week of the month. I'm going to be in South Carolina.
That's not busy. From June the 6th to November, we have 42 shows.
Yeah. Smash has got something like 43.
Wow.
It's crazy.
You guys are all nuts.
And there's a couple weeks that there's Derby every night from Monday to Saturday.
And that's got to be terrible.
Well, for me, no, but my wife, yeah, that's a good possibility.
She's so patient, kind,
right.
Understanding, even keeled. She doesn't have a temper at all.
That's why John sends her my check.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Well,
what do you think, Marquardt? We put a fork in it?
Yeah, we're pretty good. Went for a little over an hour and a half. We went over our allotted time, but you know what? It was a ball. So many great people to talk to. I can't wait. I really hope Lee comes back soon. I've been waiting to catch up with him. I haven't seen him in forever. But Lee Engstrom, good. And finally had the chance to catch up with him. We talked with him, Matt Foss, Dave Diver, Chris Pauley, Jeremy
Wade
Schul. We talked to Wade Sickink from DerbyParts.com. We didn't get a chance to talk to David Killery, who won the RC Derby. We wanted to talk with him, and hopefully he was going to bring his car over, but must be forgot. He wasn't real keen on coming over and talking anyway.
That's the other pork chop.
Yes, in fact it is, yes. But great show, good time. We'll be back a little bit later on. Probably the game plan is to roll off sometime later on tonight, and it may even be before the Derby's over. It'll be a bit of a post-race wrap-up coming up later on. Thanks for joining us on the Crash Course Podcast. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you a little bit later on.
The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com, the 2015 Bash for Cash and Smash It Demolition Derby, Bull Lockwood Motorsports, and the 2015 Keystone Nationals. Scioppa Racing, and ScioppaRacing.com. Demo Derby Master. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast.